In this video, I'll be discussing what my personal perfect reload loophole would be. If you guys happen to enjoy this video, consider leaving a like and subscribing and using code WATSOG in the Fortnite item shop. And yeah, that's about it. Let's get straight into the video. Alright, so let's start with the assault rifles. So obviously, first assault rifle you have to have, guarantee in every good reload loophole in my opinion, is the regular assault rifle, just the classic OG assault rifle. In a game with like reload, I really don't see any reason why this shouldn't ever be taken out. When they took it out for a little while and had the ranger replace it, it was not good. I will just say that right now. Having respawn with a gray ranger, genuinely the worst experience ever, because you cannot win a fight against basically anybody with a gray ranger. Gray AR, you can get some stuff done. Gray ranger, no, that's never happening. So I just think the gray AR, or the assault rifle in general, should just be the default, assault rifle for reload, in my personal opinion. I don't think it should be ever taken out, like, ever. Next assault rifle we have is the heavy assault rifle. Just a nice little alternative, and instead of throwing some garbage like the ranger assault rifle in there, how about you throw a good, slow firing, heavy hitting assault rifle like the heavy assault rifle? So yeah, that's really the only justification behind the heavy. I just think it's a solid weapon, and I think it's a good, contrast to the original assault rifle. And then finally for ARs, we have the burst assault rifle. These three assault rifles basically make up the big three of like Fortnite assault rifles. Like when I think of like the ARs in this game, I think the OG assault rifle, the heavy assault rifle, and the burst assault rifle. They kind of fit like all three different classes. The assault rifle is more of a spray kind of weapon. The heavy is kind of more like a slow firing, hard hitting weapon. And then the burst is a bit more precise, It's kind of all got like their own niche. And I feel like it would be really cool to have a loophole like this, because I don't think we've really had something like this since like early chapter 1, or like late chapter 1, I guess. I think season 7 had it for a little bit, but besides that, yeah, this hasn't really happened for a long time, so I think this would be good. For shotguns, we got a few here. First, we have the pump. Obviously, pump shotgun is basically Fortnite's default shotgun, even if it hasn't been in the game outside of like OG seasons for like years. The pump shotgun is a classic, and you can't really go wrong with it. And just like the pump, the TAC is another classic shotgun that's basically a staple of Fortnite. These two shotguns are basically like a guaranteed way to make a good shotgun loophole. If you have these two, your shotgun loophole is stacked. Don't really have to do anything, just keep these two in, and you'll be good. I do have two other kind of gimmicky picks though. I do have the Ranger shotgun, which I do believe is a solid shotgun. I don't really think it's better than the TAC or the pump, but could be a bit fun, just kind of mess around with the Ranger for a little bit. And then we have the double barrel shotgun. I was debating on switching this out with the Outlaw shotgun, but I feel like the double barrel just kind of fits Reload's vibe more, It's got the classic OG chapter 1 kind of aesthetic. And even though I think the Outlaw feels cleaner to use, I do think the double barrel is what they would use over the Outlaw, even though they are basically the same weapon. For SMGs, I have a few here, and I think this is actually a pretty well-rounded SMG loophole. We have the, normal SMG, the SMG from Season 5, the classic one. Not like the classic one, but the one from Season 5. That's just called the submachine gun, that one. And it's just a standard SMG, can't go wrong with a classic good old SMG. Then we have the rapid fire SMG, probably one of the best SMGs in this game. It does kind of run out of ammo really quickly, but it's good. It's a really solid weapon. That's barely even a con against it. It's a really good weapon. And then finally, for SMGs, we have the Scoped Burst SMG. Now, this weapon's not really loved that much, or it's not really seen as that good of a weapon, but I feel like it has its own little niche, and I feel like it kind of adds a little bit of gimmick to the reload loophole, which, a little bit of gimmick and reload along with like the classics. I think it's what makes a good reload loophole. So having the Scope Burst SMG in there, honestly, I think would be a pretty good choice. For pistols, we don't really have a lot of pistols in the current reload loophole, I believe, but in this one I have 3. So the first one is just the normal pistol, I'd imagine it'd be the automatic version of the pistol and not the semi-automatic one. So, just keep it simple with the nice OG pistol, the automatic version, of course. The revolver, I would prefer to have the old revolver model over the new one, but, either one works fine. Doesn't really matter. But, yeah, just the classic OG single shot, heavy hitting pistol. Is the hand cannon better? Probably. Is the mammoth pistol better? Yeah, definitely. But the revolver is a classic, And then dual pistols as the last pistol option. You know, I just feel like dual pistols are very underutilized. I feel like it's a really cool idea as a weapon, you know, dual wield weapon. The first dual wield weapon in Fortnite, by the way, you know. Now we have the pump and dump and stuff like that, but this was like the OG one. So, you know, I think it'd be a good addition. For snipers, we have 2 here, and I think this is the only 2 snipers you really need in a reload loot pool. We have the bolt action sniper rifle, you know, the classic 100-ish damage, you know, good scope on it, you know, that's all you really need. And then we have the hunting rifle, you know, a bit more gimmicky, no scope on this one, better for like trick shots and stuff. I don't know why I'm explaining the hunting rifle to you guys. You probably know how good the hunting rifle is as a sniper, but it's here, so I think it's fitting. Explosives, we only have 1, so I'll just go over real quick. It's the RPG. Classic. I wouldn't imagine it being too common to find. I'd imagine like maybe you can only get out of rare chests because it's only in like higher rarities. I would not put this in with lower rarities, but higher rarities could be fun to have the RPG in. It's like a nice little kind of jackpot kind of weapon, you know. Heals, just kind of want to get this through quick because heals aren't too interesting. They're kind of what you'd expect. Obviously we have the med kit, big pot, the minis, and bandages, and then, you know, some that are kind of not a necessity, but I think definitely improve the reload experience. We have chug splashes, shield kegs, and med mist. Obviously, this game mode is more catered towards a team dynamic, so having team-oriented heals, I think just benefits this game out a lot, you know? One person can be carrying shield keg, one person can be carrying med mist, one person can be carrying like a stack of chug splashes, and you're basically good on health for the rest of the game, you know? And then we just have some other weapons. We have the grenades, obviously. The recon scanner could be fun, you know? I don't think it's actually been in reload at all, so I think this will be fun. Shockwave grenades, you know, gotta have good movement because if there's not good movement, people will complain, and no one wants to see that. The harpoon gun and all of the fish, every single fish. I'm talking literally every single fish, you know, I'm talking stinkfish, cuttlefish, cube fish, I think that's what it's called, shadow cube fish, I forgot what that one was called, but it's the cube flopper, that one. All of them, throw them all in there, and make it so you can only get them if you use a harpoon gun, you know, kind of make it a bit special. I know I could have thrown all the fish in on heals, but, you know, I just feel like they fit better in the other category with a harpoon gun. Alright, this is where things get a little interesting. We have mythics and exotics. So, first, for mythics, we have Midas's drum gun, obviously, classic mythic weapon, Sky's Scar, or assault rifle, however you want to call it. You know, another classic, Baron's double down pistol. This is the mythic mammoth pistol with 2 shots, and, you know, I know a lot of people will probably comment on this video about me not including the normal mammoth pistol, but the mythic mammoth pistol would make up for that, even though it is very rare, you know. The mammoth pistol is a bit broken, so having one on the map, or like having like a very rare chance of getting one, because there wouldn't be one on the map, it'd be random chance. That's how mythics work in this game. But having one random chance to get the mythic mammoth pistol with 2 shots just feels really rewarding. It would be like a guaranteed pickup every time. We have Jules Glider Gun, another great mobility item. We do have shockwaves, so people probably won't be complaining too much, but it is infinite mobility, and it is probably better to have than shockwaves, so obviously gotta add this to the loot pool. Chose it over Sky's Grappler just because I like the way the glider gun feels and plays more than the grappler. I know that like the glider gun kind of cancels like any like real like grappler plays out there, unless you do like a little technique, but you can't really do that if you have like decently high ping, so you know. But yeah, I think the glider gun is just what I would prefer. And then finally for mythics, we have the enhanced sentinel pump shotgun. Mythic sentinel pump, you know, 200 to the head guaranteed. I think it'd just be fun, you know, having this like really rare chance to get the sentinel pump and then have it do 200 to the head. Really good idea, you know, for mythic. Gotta make it really powerful. And the pump doesn't do 200 to the head anymore. I know it did that in like OG, and I believe it might have done that in Remix. I know it does in OG, but OG is a different pump shotgun. This would be like the Chapter 2 pump. So having a pump that doesn't 200 and then having the sentinel pump, the mythic sentinel pump, come in, like have a really rare chance and then do 200, I think it'd be a really nice way to have that kind of work, you know? And now for exotics. First, I have the Lawless Shockwave Rocket Launcher. You know, really solid weapon. Not really a weapon, more of a movement item, but I think it'd be fun, you know? Reload kind of leans into like gimmicky kind of items, like really dominating things in the game mode, so having this like gimmicky kind of movement item kind of fits, and you know, everyone loves the Shockwave Rocket Launcher, so why not? Now we have 2 Heisted exotics. Heisted Accelerant Shotgun, probably the best shotgun they've ever made. Hot take, maybe, but you know, the Accelerant Shotgun is just so good. It's like the Maven, but actually worthwhile. So gotta have that in there. It's probably my favorite shotgun. It's just really fun, man. And then we have the Heisted Blink Mag SMG. Twin Mag is a good SMG, and just having that additional reload effect with like the 0-point dashes would be fun. you know? Then finally, we have the Shadow Tracker. I feel like the Shadow Tracker is like the poster child of exotic weapons. Like, you think of exotics, you're like, oh yeah, the Shadow Tracker. That's an exotic. That's a really iconic exotic, you know? And it's good, too. So, I think it'd be fun to have in the loot pool, personally. And then finally, might be a bit disappointing to leave off on this weapon, but it's the Boom Sniper Rifle. Now, a lot of people don't like the Boom Sniper Rifle, and I kind of get why, because it's kind of low on damage, but I think it's a pretty fun weapon, and especially in build modes, like, just like spamming your opponent with explosives, be really fun, and especially if it's like a really rare weapon, so it's not happening all the time. Could be fun, you know? The Boom Sniper Rifle itself might not be that great as a weapon, but as like a build destroyer, I guess you could say, it's good. Alright, if you guys enjoyed that video, consider leaving a like and subscribing, and using code WATSOG in the Fortnite item shop. And yeah, that's about it. See you in the next one. Later.